70% of Australian beachgoers don't know how to spot a rip.
Well, let me tell you what rips are not. They're not undertow. They won't pull you under because there's no such thing as an undertow. They're not rip tides because they're not a tide. They're a current. They flow pretty steady, and they won't take you to New Zealand.
Rob Brander is one of the world's leading authorities on rip currents. He's a coastal geomorphologist and associate professor at Sydney's University of New South Wales.
Okay, so we came down, and this looked like a pretty safe place to swim, right?
For over a decade, Rob has been on a personal mission to teach the public about rip current survival. Around the world, Rob Brander is known as Dr. Rip.
That's what happens. People do get scared.
Every summer, Rob can be found on Australian beaches releasing a harmless coloured dye into the water as part of his public education campaign. Within seconds, the purple dye reveals a lurking rip current.
The simplest way to describe rip currents is that they're strong, narrow, seaward flowing currents that extend from the shoreline out beyond the breaking waves. And they exist to bring all that extra water that's coming in with the breaking waves back offshore. And all of our recent research has shown that rips are incredibly complex, and they're much more unpredictable and dangerous than we could ever have imagined.
Many of Australia's rip current incidents take place on isolated stretches of coastline where the nearest patrolled beach is neither close nor convenient. But there are just as many drownings that occur within several hundred metres of patrolled beaches, and one of the nation's most popular stretches of coastline is not immune to the problem. The Gold Coast, Australia's holiday playground. It's known throughout the world for its beautiful coastline and stunning beaches. Every summer, millions of beachgoers take to its Pacific surf. Stretching out over 50 kilometres, this incredible coastline is also one of the nation's safest. Lifeguards and lifesavers work tirelessly to keep swimmers safe between the iconic red and yellow flags. But many locals and tourists swim outside of these designated safe zones. This can be a tragic mistake. It's a typical summer's day. A family enters the surf just 100 metres outside of an area patrolled by lifesavers. Within minutes, the young boy discovers he's being pulled away from the beach. He tries to swim back to the shallows, but he can't make any progress. Panic sets in as he struggles against a force that seems determined to drag him out to sea. Lifesavers see the struggle in the distance and immediately respond. This rip current encounter ended without tragedy, but sadly, every year many lives are lost on Australian beaches because of rips. All of these tragedies occur outside of the red and yellow flags. Many of these incidents could have been avoided if people were able to recognise the signs of an operating rip current.
The best way to spot a rip is to look for dark gaps. Right behind me, we've got a nice rip. It looks like a dark gap, almost like a road or a path going through the surf. Now over here, it's a shallow sandbar. The waves are breaking. All that white water is piling up on the beach, starts flowing along the beach in this deeper channel, and then turns the corner, and that's your rip. And that's what you look for, dark gaps. When it comes to rips, just think, white is nice, green is mean. And always remember to swim between the red and yellow flags.